to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. On today's episode, I have Nancy Ganzekaufer with me. And if you are new to the show, then let me tell you, there are at least 3 or 4 other shows where you can hear the expert, spot-on advice from Nancy Ganzekaufer. And if you're not new to the show, you know how smart this lady is. She is a hashtag smart lady. That's the truth. And today, we are talking about Nancy's new product. She has come out with the Interior Design Profit Formula. This is a web-based this is an online-based course where she has poured her heart and soul into every single thing that she knows and that she teaches her one-on-one coaching clients on how to be profitable. Okay? When I tell you that the way this can impact your business is without question. I mean, and here's the thing, you have to do it though. Like, don't be with that girl that buys it or that guy that buys it and then doesn't do it. But if you know you have the personality that you will sit down and you will take it to heart, I'm going to tell you what, this is the most affordable way to do this. And look, I say it on the show and I'm going to say it to you now. I don't have 19,000 things for sale on my website because I need to know that it's value and quality, and that's what Nancy is. And so the Interior Design Profit Formula, you can get it on luannnigara.com under resources, okay? And then today I'm going to ask Nancy some questions about it, and she's going to go over the different modules that are in it, and you'll get to see for yourself if you think it's something worthwhile for you. And keep in mind, if you have already signed up to come to Luann Nigara Live, it's about the conversation that Nancy, of course, is one of the co-authors in my book, and she will be there with us. And you will be able to meet her and ask her questions and just, pick her brain because this is one smart lady. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have an excellent day. Hey, everybody. Here I am with one of my favorite people, Nancy Ganzekaufer. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm great, Luann. How are you?
I am awesome. And I am always so happy when I see you in my calendar for another show because I know that you always give 19 billion gigabytes of value.
Get out your pen and paper, everyone.
That's it. It is. It's what I call a pen and paper show. As a matter of fact, Nance, I think I might have put that in my introduction to your chapter in our upcoming book. I think it is your chapter that I wrote that. I'm like blank on it because it's already so long ago, but I have a feeling it was your chapter.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I can't help but give information. It just keeps coming.
I know. And what I said was there are many episodes that are like this, but yours are always like this where, you're out on a run or you're driving and you're like, hey, just let me listen to a well-designed business podcast. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to have to listen to this one over again with a pen and paper.
It's all good. Listen, I'm on a mission like you, just to kind of help as many interior designers as we can to make more money and become profitable and be happy and balanced in what they're doing. They're so fabulous and so creative. And this is such a hard business.
It is. It's the details are overwhelming and the personalities of all the different clients and the way that when somebody is under stress that it rears out and it's crazy because, you and I both do a lot of
coaching with designers, and we both have a superpower of sales and mindset. Those are our, well, you are also really good at processes and everything too. But the thing about it is that a lot of times the client is saying so many things in a certain way, and it's really almost nothing to do with the designer. Yes. It's processing and it's stepping back. And we just went off into a tangent here, which I totally was not going to do.
I knew we were going to do that. We always do that. But it's all the moving parts that they have to manage. It's the personalities, like you're saying. And then it's the actual process of interior design. Then it's the business side of it. How to know your numbers and be profitable and all that stuff. It's really one of the most difficult service industries that I've coached, and it's so doable, but it really takes that balance and knowing what to do when and how to proceed and to improve yourself in the right areas, not where you don't need improvement, but in the areas that can make you a better designer, a better businesswoman, a better businessman.
Yeah, no, it's true. It takes a lot. It takes a village. So, but what I love is that, you not only do your one-on-one coaching, you not only have your coaching groups, but you have now just come out with a new course that you're doing, and it's called the Interior Design Profit Formula. And it's funny, I will share with everybody on this particular episode that I have taken the step to come up with a resource page on my website, luannigara.com/resource, specifically because you came up with this course. And I mean to say that in this way. In the course of this 3 years of this podcast, I have been so fortunate to meet so many business coaches and experts that have products and everything else. But there has never been somebody that I just know really, I shouldn't say never. It rarely is somebody that if I haven't gone through the course myself, I'm not sure if I can say, hey, I condone this, right? I support this. But I know with you that is, I have no fear with that. I've worked with you over and over again, not only through the podcast, but we did our own 10-week course. And so it's not that there's been nobody. Claire, I know is going to put out good content, name them. They're all right there. Kay Whitaker. But when you came out with yours, I finally was like, okay, Luann, put a resource page up, and it's going to be very close to the vest. It is not going to be an open forum for everybody and anybody on the planet, because I simply don't have the bandwidth to go through every single course. So it will be for the people that I have worked with on a very close level basis, and I know I can trust their information. So I'm so excited to put your course on the luannigara.com/resource page. Alrighty. So today you're going to tell us a little bit about what is in it and what we can expect to learn from it, and how it's going to benefit an interior designer's business. So I know that we got to go through the whole course to get the full meat and potatoes, but I also know you're going to share some nuggets with us for sure, right?
Yep, absolutely. I put this course together primarily because, like you said, I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching, and it gets to a point as a coach you are out of capacity, and you're teaching the basics over and over again. And these are things that can really change the face of someone's business, right. Make them more profitable, extend their reach, gain more clients, and really double or triple their income. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of information. And in my one-on-one and in my groups, it's a lot of mindset also, which I actually was able to get into the course a little bit. I have my little pep talks in there. And I have an extra bonus module on becoming the CEO of your own business and staying balanced. But throughout, what I wanted to do is say, what is everything that I teach people throughout the months that I work with them that have made the biggest impacts on their bottom line and gaining more clients? And I put it all into the course.
Right. And the thing about a course is that you have to know that you're going to do it, right? Because there's some of us that are quite the personality that will invest in a course, understand that the cost of the course, even this course is $997, and really understand that that's probably a third or a fourth of what it would cost to work with you in a capacity and to have it taught to you one-on-one. And some people are very much the personality that will buy it, sit down and go through it. And that's the thing about it. If you know that about yourself, this is getting all of that information at your own pace, at your own time, 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, at a much reduced rate. But I do just caution people, and I always have to be, I'm a Libra, Nance, so I always have to look at both sides of everything. You have to know yourself. You have to know that, I always say to my customers that I work with at WindowWorks, if they're debating between motorizing a drapery or not, and the drapery is $6,000 and the motorization puts it to $2,000. At some point during the debate, if they really are conflicted, I say to them, you're going to have this drape for 10 years. Don't save $2,000 and waste $6,000, right? Like, that's silly. If you really need or want it motorized, bite the bullet and do it, because you won't have saved $2. You will have wasted $6 on something you don't want. So that's the same with a course, right? It's if you have the personality, if you have the stick-to-itness, and you're going to understand and be so thrilled on the money that you're saving and getting all the value too, then spend $1,000. But if you're the kind of person that's going to spend $1,000 and never do it, then just sign up for one-on-one with Nancy, and bite the bullet. Don't save $1,000. You know what I mean? So right. I just have to say that, because I feel like, as much as I know this course is valuable, it's really only valuable for the person who will go through it.
Well, what I did was also, because I know that happens to people, and that is part of the beauty of one-on-one coaching. The coach keeps you accountable. Did you do what we talked about last time yet? Why not? Why, how did it go? And you're getting an update. I send a weekly email. Everyone who signs up for this course, I did it through a platform, that they get a weekly email that reminds them to continue the course. Good. There's also a forum behind the scenes in the course where they can ask me anything. And I get an email immediately that they're, either need clarification on something, or they have a question that maybe was on their mind that I didn't answer for them in that module. So they get reminders. And the best part is that this is lifetime access. This does not go away. I do not drip it out to them. I thought about it. Here's module 1, do it this week. Module 2, do it the next week. I said, let me put it all out there. Leave it in their hands. They can even jump around modules, which I don't recommend, by the way, but some people like doing that.
Like to read the last chapter first.
Exactly. That combined with my Facebook group, I mean, they can get me. They can get me, and they can do it at their own pace. There's times where you're going to have to stop it, implement what I said, do the exercise, come back. And you may need to listen to something once or twice, depending on the way your learning style. Mm-hmm. And there's downloads, there's exercises, there's guest coaches, there's a bunch of stuff. I really threw in the kitchen sink so that when they come out of this course, they're going to be like, wow, like I implemented everything and I have changed my business and I have made more money and I'm doing it.
Yeah, no. Well, that feature right there, that makes it, because I am sort of the person that really, I would rather almost spend more money and have the one-on-one or the interaction. But see that layer right there, now it appeals to I get to save a lot of money and I can still have access. You see, I can still say, what did that mean? It's not this, just, something that so I love it. That's awesome, Nancy. Great concept on your part. I love that. So tell us, what should we share? I don't want to, I want you to lead for me what we should share. Should we share the titles of the modules and then maybe 1 or 2 tips from a couple of them? How do you want to teach somebody something today? Oh.
So, some of the exercises are things that I have put out there before. However, I go into more detail. Like I just got an email the other day from somebody who's taking the course, and it's that whole, ideal client profile. Like, how do you find your avatar, or whatever you want to call it? And she's like, I've heard this so many times from so many different people, but when I heard it from you and the examples you gave me so much clarity that even though my ideal client is not among who I walk with every day, that there are still ways I can get to them. And that's in that module, the ideal client profile, it's a little typical, but then I blow it up to a new level where I'm really walking you through, because I know what you're thinking when you're listening to this, right? So I'm able to get into your head and go, okay, and if you're thinking this, I want you to address it that way. So we go through the ideal client profile, and that changes over time. You know, people think, well, that's not my ideal client. Well, your ideal clients can change over time as you get better at what you do, as you get more confident, as you change your marketing plan and put one in place if you don't have one at all. And we go through that as well. So module number 1 is like creating that roadmap to success, which I think I had done pieces of that on one of your previous podcasts. How to, and now's the perfect time. It's December. Now's the time to start again for the next year. I know you and I both do our business roadmap to success, our business plan, our model for what we're doing the following year in November and December, actually, for me. So we go through that, but you can do it any time of the year, whenever you feel like.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. You know what? When things start going flat, you want to make a plan. And that plan can morph and change. And I go through all of how to make a plan that you can actually follow. Then we go into the ideal client profile, which we discussed a little bit, and how to figure that out. And that has a lot to do with the stage of your business that you're in. So this can be for anyone who's, as you call them, baby designers, all the way to experienced designers. I coach them all and really go from where they're at to how do we take it to the next level, right? So we look at that ideal client and see if there's changes that need to be made to that, and then how can you find them, how can you connect with them, how do you market to them. We talk all about that. And then I'm looking at my screen here, and then we talk about formulating your signature message, which is my big one.
Your business in words.
Your business in words, which is it's just very powerful.
It is. It's like it's such a straight line to figuring out how to describe your business in words. I mean, honestly, I love it. I love it. I'm a broken record with that.
It's really, and I appreciate that support. No, it really is the beginning of your branding process as far as I'm concerned, because it's not an easy exercise.
No.
People think it's easy, and I can go through it really quick, but then in this module, I go into much more detail and give examples that you can really sit there and picture, okay, is that me? Is that not me? What words do I represent? How is my business model different from someone else's? How can people picture working with me so that when I'm talking to anyone, anywhere, from a barbecue to a networking event, I'm going to be remembered.
Right.
And that's always the key, right? When you're talking to someone, how are you remembered? And we've talked about this. If you just say, hi, I'm an interior designer.
Right.
They go, oh my God, I wish I could afford you. Or, you know what, that must be such a fun job. You get to make pretty things. Right? So this is not, again, a hugely new exercise, but the way I present it and the examples I give will open up your mind and give you clarity. And that's really the purpose.
Well, and the thing that I always say is, it's okay to hear the same big message 8-10 times, because like you just said a moment ago, the designer that recently emailed you, sometimes I have had people say to me that they've listened to a particular podcast episode a second or third time, and then finally it's like, whoa, now I understood what that guest was expressing, or I understood your analogy to us as designers, whatever it might be. It's always a combination of what's happening in your life now and what's happening in your business now that makes you more open to hearing something. Also, what recent, client experiences that you've had that maybe increase your depth of understanding of what the conversation that the two people were having, whether it's me and you, or you and somebody else, or me and somebody else. You just can hear it several times and then finally a light bulb go off. There's no question.
That's why the lifetime access was so important.
That's
to me.
Good too.
Because if they need to go back and redo it, they can. And then I go through the ladder of services, which is just information packed. All the different ways that you can actually create different service models that match what you want to do.
Right.
And to attract clients at all different levels if that's what you want to do, right? It all gets driven. I always say I'm not cookie cutter coaching. I give the options and give you the thought process to go, you know what? Oh my God, that was just such a great idea. And I give a list of all the different types of services you can provide and how those will look in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout the course, I teach you actually how to share what you do, create compelling content. That's my next module. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a module. How to grow your client base, how to grow your email list, how to grow your following. And that all, again, it's all intertwined. So I don't want to be confusing, but it's all intertwined, right? It all starts with your plan, your business in words, who you are, what you're offering to clients, and then how to grow your client base.
Mm-hmm.
We go through more details of the Facebook marketing and a little bit about Instagram marketing, and just then sharing compelling content.
Mm-hmm.
The content that connects with your potential clients.
Right.
Because a lot of people are putting out very similar content to someone else they've seen, and it's not necessarily what's connecting with their ideal clients. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, you do have to get creative. We are all getting so much noise all the time from everywhere, right? So you have to stand out. And this is not to try to tell everyone who's listening, go do something else, because I'm big on take one thing at a time, learn to do it really well, and then take on the next thing. And what happens is, a lot of designers, when they do come to me, it is because they're overwhelmed. Right. They're like, I want to do Pinterest, I want to do LinkedIn, I want to do Facebook, but I don't want to do it on my personal page. And then should I be doing a podcast? And should I be doing lives? How many emails a week should I send out? Well, what about newsletters? And all those questions I answer in the course.
Nice. Yeah. It's you really do have to get drilled down to what it is that you can do and you can do well. Pick a couple of things, but it starts with having your message and your ideal client and your business in words. As you said, it all builds on each step to ultimately getting to the point where you're trying to put the marketing out there to attract that client. But you don't have to do it in 10 different ways. You need to do it in 2 or 3 different ways, but not 10.
Right.
You have to do what works for you.
And how you want your life to look, right? Mm-hmm. It's you're doing everything and you're doing it where it's not authentic to who you really want to be. In the end, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to dread your job.
Right.
So,
and how about that? You need to leave time to actually do the job. It's the craze. It's so overwhelming. Oh, let me sit here for an hour and schedule Instagram posts. Let me schedule Facebook Live. Oh, let me write a blog. Oh, let me do a Facebook Live show. Let me do this. At some point you have to design, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I will say the simplest tip that I give almost 100% of my clients, unless they were doing it already, that makes the biggest difference in their lives, that after our next session, they're like, oh my God, I did it. And it's unbelievable. It's so simple, Luann. Take one day that you do not leave your office. You do not take client appointments. It is blocked out on your calendar and protected with a vengeance. Mm-hmm. If that client says, well, I'm only available Friday, and your Friday is your in-office day, you say, I'm sorry, I'm already booked.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You don't have to say, oh, that's my in-office day. You just say, I'm already booked.
Right.
How about, and you give them a very specific date and time. And if people want you, they will adjust to your schedule. And if they don't, then they possibly are not your ideal client, if that's your criteria.
Well, everybody, with WindowWorks, I say all the time, we're going to potentially have 100, 200 new customers every month, as opposed to a designer that might have 10 or 20 in a month or 10 or 20 in a year, depending on the level of their business and the scale. But when I tell you that I have not seen in 3 years a WindowWorks customer on a Wednesday and Thursday, because that's the days that I put aside for podcasting, if we can do that at WindowWorks, I'm telling you, you can do that in your interior design firm. And the thing is, we don't say, oh, Luann is podcasting on Wednesday and Thursday. She's doing something she'd rather be doing than seeing you. Every single week, she just happens to be busy on those 2 days. Oh, can I see Luann next week? Well, how about Tuesday? Oh, no. How about Wednesday? How about Friday? Okay, Friday. people will adjust. And it's, until you do it once or twice, I understand the fear of thinking I'm going to lose that appointment, I'm going to lose that customer, that client, but they will. It's just.
They do. And it's so scary to take that leap. When I did it with Expressive Living, my previous business as an art consultant, my staff said to me, I said, no more weekend appointments. We're just not doing that anymore. And they were like, we're going to lose so many clients. I'm like, then so be it. Yeah. I will offer them some holidays are not real holidays to me. And I'm right away. I say, can you go in a little late to work? Can you leave a little early? And they literally thought they were not going to have jobs within 2 months. Yeah. And I just couldn't anymore. I just decided this is not the way I want my life to be lived. And I cut out weekends, even for the clients who said I only can do, right? So I always juggled 15 to 25 art and accessory clients. And when we switched to no weekends, in the 5 years following my switch, before I started coaching, only one client could not be accommodated. And you know what? I didn't want them anyway. I didn't like their whole approach to me and my business. So I thought,
because it sounded like it was all about them.
It was all about them. And all I said was, unfortunately, we do not do weekend appointments. How's, Friday morning? How's that? We offered them everything. They were like, well, no. They were the type who thought, if I say jump, you should say how high. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, that is not your ideal client. Although they are paying you, they need to respect you, your time, and your life.
Mm-hmm. So it's a dance. There's a dance.
The total dance. And there's a matter of making sure you're the leader in the relationship right from the beginning. And that does not mean that you're pushy or obnoxious or uppity. You just you're in charge of the process, because they don't know interior design. Right. You do. So you need to really have the words to talk to them about your process. Only tell them what they need to understand without confusing them with all the amazing, great stuff you do in the background, and put it in a language that is friendly to them, right? Mm-hmm. I always say, and it's not to insult anybody, but keep everything at a 5th grade vocabulary level. Don't use industry terms, or if you're going to explain it, explain it first. Right. You put it in your welcome packet or something like that. So it's important that's my biggest tip. I swear it's so funny and it's so simple. So I'm giving it to everyone. Look at your calendar. What day of the week do you not want to leave your studio or your house, and make it stick?
Yeah. Until I started the podcast, Friday was that day for me. I don't take appointments Friday because that was the day I cleaned up. I wanted to leave the weekend with the possibility of the slightest possibility that I felt like I was caught up.
Well, you have none of that.
Yeah, no. And of course that's not so, we still strive for not so many appointments on Friday, but when I'm not taking them Wednesday and Thursday, and then we have half day, staff meeting every Monday, it's sort of like, okay, Luann, you can see WindowWorks customers from 2:02 p.m. on Tuesday to 2:48, so it had to lax a little bit, but the point is I'm seeing less clients, so I don't need to have as much office time as well. And of course we all know I'm going to do it on Saturday or Sunday anyway. So
right.
So anyway. So what else do we want to talk about this?
Okay, then we talked about growing your client base, how to do that, sharing compelling content. Then I go very heavily into nailing your sales closing conversations at all different stages of the sale, how to take someone from a phone call to a paid consult. Then at the paid consult, what are you actually doing there when it comes to that securing that you're getting them to the next stage, or that you're offering them something they actually want and need? And that goes back to your ladder of services, right? Making sure you're really clear as to what you're willing to do, what it looks like, how much you charge for it. Are there follow-up phone calls? Are there follow-up emails? Are there none in that service model? Nothing bothers me more than when I have a salesperson come into the house and they try to sell me into the thing they decided to sell me into before they walked in the door, as opposed to really listening to my needs and having the perfect service model that's not overselling me or underselling me. They actually listened and said, I have the perfect service level for you.
Yeah, I want to share something, because there was a coaching session that I had a year or so ago, and the designer had an aha moment in the session, and it directly speaks to what you're just talking about. The designer was called in for the consultation, and the designer saw the potential of the space, of how amazing the space could be based on everything, based on seeing the other clients' other rooms, based on the conversation with the client. Like, it really, the designer could sort of feel like, this is a person I could work with. This is a person who has innately, a base level of great taste, and this particular space that they're asking me to give them and work with them on could be fantastic. And the designer in their mind went right to this amazing space that would be designed to completion and photograph worthy, and was so excited, came back, prepared the presentation for the design services, and crickets. Followed up, crickets. Finally, the potential client said, I think I'm not going to go ahead. And Nancy, the reason I share it is because it was such a learning lesson. This is a very talented designer. It's a smart designer. But when I started asking the designer questions, well, tell me some of the things that the client was sharing with you in that consultation. Tell me some of the sentences, what were, and it turned out what it was that yes, most of this client's particular home was designed to completion, was designed at a high level. But what I learned was that this room was lesser priority, wanted it done nicely, but was not interested in this room being designed to completion. And when the only thing that the designer came back with was a proposal that was more than the client wanted, the client went away, as opposed to hearing the needs. And we both know there are some designers that will only design to completion. So then that's a situation where the designer, if once realizing the disconnect, should say, I don't think I'm the designer for you. But to your point always, if there's a ladder of services that you're comfortable, and design to completion is one of them, but consultation with XYZ and this sort of thing, this package is another. I know that if she had offered a lower level service, and I don't mean lower level by less quality, just not the design to completion, the designer would have closed that opportunity. And it was an aha moment, because the designer came back to me after the session, because it wasn't, and she just said, I really thought about it, and I continued to think about the things that were said in the process of the consult. And you're exactly right. I missed the message that she was giving me, and I was all about what I wanted to do. And the reason I share that is because we sometimes do that not because we're sleazy salespeople, or not because we don't care about the client, or not because we only are out for ourselves, but as creatives, designers, they see the potential of the full space, and they are wanting to do it for all good reasons. But you can never negate listening to the actual need that your client has. And if you have a service that fills that need, that's the service you sell. When somebody comes in for a Honda, you don't talk to them about Lamborghini for 3 hours, because they're just going to say, I really don't even want a Lamborghini. It might not even, in this case, it wasn't even about, see, that's the disconnect. It was clear that this potential client could afford the Lamborghini. But what was missed in the consult was that there was no desire for this room to be a Lamborghini. And we all have that, no matter what our economic level is. We place priority on projects and things, and they don't all get equal priority, right?
Yeah, so I have so many stories similar to that. There's actually 3 coming to mind.
Yeah.
One, I worked with a designer years ago who just loved doing ceilings, coffered ceilings and colored ceilings. And I remember I was in a job with her, and she was talking all about this client's ceiling. And all I'm thinking is, this client doesn't give a hoot about their ceiling. And all you're doing is talking about how exciting like the ceiling could be and this and that. And you're losing the client. I'm watching it. This is part of why I became a coach, right? Because as an architect,
because this was when you were actually in the process watching the designer sell the project.
That's how I would identify the words they're using, the focus they have. And again, you're right. It's not about them trying to slam someone into something they don't want. It's
just
really
blinders, right?
excitement. You know what? As a designers, you guys get so excited, like about the potential, like you said, about that space. And oh my God. And in that one case, it was the ceiling. It could be fabulous. But in the end, that client didn't care. And that designer did not get that job.
Right,
and I knew exactly why, because it was all about her emotions to the space before she was even hired. So it's hard to control that, but once you have the awareness, so if anyone out there is listening, if you get emotionally attached to the space, to the potential of the space, to the job, to the potential that that client could refer you to 5 other people, and you're in those circles, and now I'm in a new neighborhood, just be careful. Right? All those are great things, and obviously you want the job, but don't make it turn your ears off to actually really, don't wait to talk, listen to what the needs are. I had a client the other day who had an amazing opportunity, had a consultation with somebody that they were so excited because this man could lead to multiple jobs, right? But in the end, some red flags came up during the consult. Like, oh, I've worked with designers before, and there's one in particular that was not, I didn't like what she did. And so, okay, now the client's been working with me for a while. The designer, she understands like that was a red flag. And she noticed a couple of other red flags, but she's still very excited about the potential of this job. He wanted a quote for full service design, but at the same time had indicated, but I'm not so sure we could work together. Like, I need to know whether we can work together first. So she called me, what do I do? And I said, let's go with one of your other service models. Let them work with you for one day. And once you determine that you want to work with them and they have confirmed for you that they want to work with you, then you can go from there and do a full service design contract if that's what fits at that point.
Right.
So we talked it all through. There's a lot more details to that, but we talked it all through, and she ended up presenting it to him, and he was thrilled. Thrilled, because he's like, oh my God, that would be perfect. This way it was a starting point. Now, again, there are the details to this. Like, this was there, he's got a tax ID number. He's going to be purchasing everything himself. And it's going to be one of those, oh my God, why did I take this jobs? But at the same time, had huge potential for future work. So it's something she decided she would want to try to go for. So we worked on, what do I present in a case where these red flags are here, yet I still want to see if it could work. So,
I love that example, because what you're suggesting is that when you know it's a red flag and you're not interested, you just, oh, you want this service, I'm not doing it. But if you, to your point, the red flags are there, but there's a possibility they could be ironed out, that you could get through it. And she didn't want to suggestion the opportunity before that became known to her, positive or negative. And so your suggestion to offer a different level of service that I'm sure had a beginning and end to. It had a more finite, this is what I will do for this amount of X days, hours, weeks, months, whatever the agreement was. But I know, knowing you, and I know how this would work, is that it has a beginning and end. So when that end comes, if those red flags were multiplied during the process, the designer can simply be busy at the end of that contract. I'm sorry, I actually thought I could take this on. I cannot. Or you could be honest and say, this hasn't been that great a process for the two of us. You're a great guy, but not everybody fits with everybody. And I think, be honest with yourself. I'm being honest with myself. We're not a great fit. Right?
Exactly. We're not a match.
Right. Or at the end of that finite period, that structured period that has its built-in end, so nobody has to be the bad guy that ends it. She may have learned that, you know what, the things that I was really concerned about, it turned out that they're not that big of a deal, and we've worked around it. Now I can go into the full service contract. So that's awesome, Nance. It's like, what it is like when you go to the ice cream shop and you're looking at the flavor and you're like, I wonder what that tastes like. And they go, here's a little slip of it. And you're like, oh, that's great. I'll have a whole scoop.
Exactly. It's really, there's so many of these, well, maybe I want it, maybe I don't. I'm not sure. And I think I saw a red flag, but maybe it's not so bad. And maybe I need
it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's hard to know. And I need the work, so I feel like I should just take it. So there are other ways to kind of introduce yourself. And that's what I go over in the module ladder of services. All the different ways you can introduce your services that protect you and protect them to make sure this is going to be a great relationship and a way in the door that will lead to, like, listen, any of your service levels, you give 100%. You're giving, you do what you do best. And when that person then needs a designer again, you may be disappointed they didn't go for the top service level. And actually, I want to make a clarification on this as well. But you are now the trusted go-to person, which is really your goal in all of your content that you share, right? And all the way you reach out to clients, potential clients, what you put out into the world. You're trying to make yourself that go-to person the day that client wakes up and says, I can't stand my family room anymore. I can't stand my bathroom. Wait, I've been seeing so-and-so, or I've been getting there, or I met them at a barbecue or a networking event. This is all about being memorable. And if you give a lower service option, someday when they need you again, they're going to go, she was so good, or he was so good at that level. I want to call them back again. And they'll talk about you.
Right, exactly. So for the designer listening that maybe this might be the first podcast they've ever heard and they don't understand, because we've gone through on the show with you ladder of services. Let's just give an example. Are we talking about, in this particular exact case that we just discussed, maybe a package of 10 hours or something like that as an entry level that, again, has a beginning and end? Is that the sort of example that you might have suggested that this particular designer offered to this potential client? Okay.
Absolutely. One of those is a package for the day. It could be a package half a day. It could be a package for a month, a set number of hours. And I go through all those details in the course, in the ladder of services section, so that they can really picture, like, it is working. When I tell you, creating a ladder of services not only works to get you more clients on a regular basis during your lull periods, if you're having lulls, because it's a whole different level of person you can work with when you have different service models. It also does absolutely extend to that next level of full service design, because they've tried you out. It's a trial period if you feel that someone is not able to be sold full service design. I have designers who are making their whole business models around not having to order furniture and not having to do a mock-up and a tracking and a delivery and a receivership and the big reveal day. They are making their whole service model because
about consultations
and hours. And as long as you're doing it right, you can make a lot of money doing that without having all the headaches.
Yeah, we get a lot of flack every time we talk about this on the show. I have to tell you, it's funny because I definitely believe it as well. And one of the reasons why I believe it is because, like you, having worked side by side with interior designers for 30 years, I've watched it work. I mean, it absolutely does work. And what happens is that the flack that comes sometimes after a podcast episodes where either me or the guest is talking about simply selling your consultation services and so forth, is some of the things that are said are, well, that's, you have to make money on product. You have to make money on furniture. Like that's part of the mix, and that you should have a diverse portfolio of being able to make money through a diverse portfolio, through consultation, through fees, through product. Okay. And I 110% agree with that model for an interior designer. But the thing is, I know, like, you know, that not everybody is ready and skilled out the gate, or even sometimes 3 years out the gate, in order to properly manage a project that includes the procurement and all of that goes into selling furniture and markup and, blah, blah, blah. And what I know, like, is that when you just think that I can sell myself and my services as a consultation, if you do it 2 times a week times 4 weeks a month, times 3 months of a quarter, you're going to eventually convert some of those people up to the higher level services. And usually it's when you're actually gotten to the spot where you feel confident to do that higher level service, right?
And Luann, yes, and I'll add to that, it's not just for people who are not confident. It's often
of course,
who are in business 35 years and just
don't want the hassle.
Don't want the hassle anymore. Exactly.
Exactly.
And also for full service interior design firms who have a junior designer who they want to be able to build them out with more hours and have them do a different level of service. The bottom line is it is an asset to have in your back pocket, in your mind, knowing that you have this service level. Should you come up with somebody who doesn't want full service, you can turn them down if that's your business model.
Right.
Absolutely.
Say no.
Down. But if you don't have that as I only take full service design, which again, if you're at that level, that's awesome. And I work with people on how to give, the staff, the service level, what each person should do, the flow of the business. But if you ever have lulls, these other services, and I'm not post them on your website. I'm saying know that you have them, know how you price them, know what it includes, so that when you're in that person's house and you're hearing from them, they may not be the full service design, and you would like to take on some non-full service design, you know what to say, you know what it looks like.
Right, it's having it ahead of time, having it in, even though it's not necessarily on your website, you know what it is. When I do this, I can do 5 hours at this much, or I can do 1 month, like you said, X amount of hours equals this. It's having it prepared mentally ahead of time so that you can move between the things that you can offer. Yeah, I was just thinking, I was on Toby Fairley's podcast recently, and her and I discussed this option of doing consulting only. And it's funny because we did do a disclaimer in the conversation to the effect of, honestly, the designers out there that are the, Mrs. Paranjape's, the Laura Umanskis, the Marie Flanagans. Yeah, this conversation, they're not even listening to the podcast looking for business tips, right? So in other words, there was some flack back on, that there's just flack. And the point is that we're talking to the point of the podcast, and the point of all of this is to give the designer listening who is looking for answers and solutions and different ways of looking at their business model in order to be profitable, until, if their dream is to be one of those luxury full service designers, until they get there. And I say it all the time on the show. There is a designer here in New Jersey. I've worked with her probably now going on 20 years, 15 years. It is not the business model for everybody, but my point on it is that she only does consultations, and she's so smart. She's such a good business person, because the little entrepreneurial things that she does in the consultation. So first of all, she doesn't buy any products. She doesn't buy any furniture. I know there's a ton of money to be made on this. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just describing her model. She literally takes only 2 appointments a day, and that's when it's completely necessary, but mostly she takes 1 a day. I think she's working at probably $350 for an initial consultation, and she's probably at $150 or $200 for an hour. So if she did 1 consultation a day, $350 times 5 days a week, nothing to come out of it except her taxes and her car and her gas, and here's the thing that she does. She's so smart, because when she's there, she never leaves without saying, and when do you want to do our next appointment? She literally, we can sit there and she can have me in to do the draperies, and we're talking about the drapes, and we spend an hour and a half going through all the different fabrics that they want and the style and everything else. And then she'll go, okay, so I believe the next step is to have the cabinet maker in here. Let me just get my calendar out. She looks up, she opens it, she goes, I can do next Tuesdays. Next Tuesday, good for you. I'll get the cabinet maker. So she's always just filling her week with money.
This is what I call this. This is design therapy, right? When you go to a therapist, you go every week. When you go to a coach, you're every other week, or you're once a month. She's a design coach. She's a design therapist.
She just builds it right in. I've never seen a client go, oh, I'll let you know. The client always opens up the phone or the calendar and puts it in.
Exactly. I mean, she's making her life the way she wants it to be. And again, it's not for everyone. I completely agree.
Right.
And that's why when I go over the ladder of services, I talk about full service design too. Right. And I have a whole module on establishing successful systems. Mm-hmm. And that module is based on full service design. Mm-hmm. What are the steps you need to take? What are the steps you share with the client? Mm-hmm. How do you sell all of these services using the right words in the right order?
Right.
What not to say, what to say, in order to keep it simple, moving forward, lead the conversation right into the service model that you feel is a perfect fit for that client. If you are really listening and you have service models that are a good fit for a client you want to work with, right? I'm emphasizing all these things. Right. If you present professionally and know how to present the perfect service model to them.
Right, right. And I think I also want to just say, I think the reason why whenever the opportunity comes up on the podcast to elaborate and go down this discussion about this type of service is a legit, in my opinion, and yours as well, as a legit ladder of service item to offer, is because I think it's pretty obvious that one of the services a designer can offer is full service luxury design. In other words, I don't think anybody needs 15,000 conversations on if your ideal is to be full service luxury design, then go for it, get there, do it, and this is what it looks like. But what the gray area, and I've learned through the coaching, the gray area is the A to B to get to it. And how do I work? How do I keep getting my clients? How do I keep the business alive? How do I keep building a base of clients? How do I keep perfecting my skills when I'm starting out and I can't get full service projects? And that's for the person starting out. And of course, we all know, like you said, and my friend here, that's 20 years, and she has no desire to have an encumbered business. She has no desire. She doesn't want bookkeeping. So my point is that I do harp on it, and I do pull it apart with somebody like yourself that I know is adept and skilled at teaching the different packages of services, because there needs to be that aha moment that there is a way to do and be creative and have a design business that until or if you never want to be full service, there's a model for you. I know I'm a broken record.
Definitely. And if you've gone through a lull, if you're going through a lull for whatever reason, you've gone through an illness, or you just didn't do your marketing, or something happened with your family that you took attention away from your business, and now you're trying to jump back in right to full service where you left off. And sometimes that is hard for people. Mm-hmm. So there is no, bruise to your ego to have other service options in there that get that energy up again, get you rolling, get you more clients, get people talking about you. So I'm really big on this. If you need it, if you don't, then you don't.
It's a la carte.
Exactly. Out of the 10 modules I have, the biggest module is about establishing successful systems as a full service designer, what you're supposed to do. And the creme de la creme of design for a really motivated, gung-ho, I want a full service design firm, is to have an hourly and a gross profit margin on all your products. Absolutely. At more than a 40% overall profit on that job. Mm-hmm. I talk about all that in this course.
Good.
So they can see at all different levels where they can be. I talk about hiring employees and what are the most important aspects of when you're hiring an employee, what to look for. Mm-hmm. One simple tip, which is, everyone always laughs when I say this. When I hire people, at the end of the interview, I literally go, do you like me? I want to make sure you like me, because if you don't like me,
then it's not going to work.
everyone goes, well, obviously they're going to say yes, but I do my interviews via Zoom and I can actually see the body language.
Right.
And I'm a big body language reader, which is why I do all my coaching via Zoom as well, because I can tell if something I'm saying is uncomfortable for somebody, or if there's some resistance there. So when you're hiring employees, you want to make sure they're smart. Right? You want to give them, well, what do you love to do? I have an employee who I've never asked you, like, what do you love to do? She loves Pinterest. She's blowing up my Pinterest. I'm almost at 600,000 views, which is a vanity measure, guys. It's not that big of a deal, but it makes me happy.
Right.
So, and it gives me energy to go, oh my God, it's great. So, but like when you find out what excites them and give them a little bit of that responsibility as well as what you need them to do. You also make sure they are dedicated to the growth of your company, right? That they have the excitement behind your company. Yeah. And it's really something you can pull out in an interview if you're not holding back.
Yeah. One of our co-authors, Eileen Hahn, her chapter is on how to find, hire, and train an exceptional employee. She's a business organizational consultant, a organizational behavioral consultant. And this is what she has done for 35 years, is help companies hire and train exceptional employees. And it's all about the things that you're talking about, is, really finding out what their best and worst strengths and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then really helping them work in your company in their strengths so that they are just jazzed every day to come to work. Your employee loves to do Pinterest, then she's the one who should be doing Pinterest. And she is outstanding. I mean, she's spent her life's work doing this. 35 years. She's worked for Anheuser-Busch, San Diego Padres, and she's worked with companies as small as ours. And there is a whole thing about that. And so I'm glad that you covered that in your module as well, because it is important to not, I feel the one of the biggest mistakes that small business owners make when they hire is they mistakenly hire themselves. They duplicate themselves. I did it myself. This is why I know that it happens. I now recognize it in other people. In the beginning, when I was young, I was hiring somebody who was just as crazy and outgoing and, energy as me. But, I wasn't hiring a salesperson. I was hiring somebody to be in the office and do all the details and do all the paperwork and make sure all the crap was ordered. It's like, you don't want me doing that. Like, my brain fries in the first hour. I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of here. But that was the mistake I was mistakenly making, is hiring for synchronicity with me as a person, as opposed to synchronicity with the position and that person, hiring the ideal person for that job description. You say,
I mean, here I was an art consultant and I had no art background. I have a business management, finance, and a business background, and I'm running an art consulting and accessory firm. And I'm like, okay, maybe now that I'm hiring somebody to get me to the next level, not that I could afford them when I hired them, I was hiring them to get me to the next level. Right. So I had more hours. I hired someone with an art degree. Right? Like,
one of us here should have that.
Exactly. I mean, it was
just enhanced
art,
it. But you could have gone without it, but it just enhanced it. And that was the point. You didn't duplicate yourself. You looked for the hole in the structure and filled it.
Right. The whole goal of the course is to help everyone feel confident in extending their reach and gaining more clients and doubling or tripling their income in whatever business model they have, because I teach a little bit, and really it's not a little bit, it's actually deep in depth of everything they need to feel the confidence that they can go out and start charging what they're worth, because they know what they're doing. They have, I go over welcome packets. And again, how to calculate your gross profit margin and how the creme de la creme is, charging hourly plus a markup.
Right.
But should you not be at that stage yet, you can't jump to the front of the line sometimes. If you're, if you need to work on the things that run your business efficiently, so you have the confidence to charge more and get to that next level, everything's in this course for that. We also talk about defining your brand. And I have guest coaches, Ian Qua, who talks about website. I have guest coach Nicole Heimer to talk about branding. I mean, it's really I have another guest coach, Lorianne Robinson, who is a fashion consultant. So when you're taking pictures, how do you, figure out what's going to look best on camera and what should you consider? So it's really just, again, packed with information that you can go through at your own pace, re-listen to, have access to me through the forum. And I'm very happy to extend a one-on-one half an hour to anyone who purchases the course through your link.
Wow.
At any point during the taking the course.
Did you just hear what you said to anyone?
I do this. Didn't I do this one other time too?
Does that mean you did? Does that mean anyone and everyone? Like, I mean, you have to do a period of time, Nance. We have to do a period of time.
Okay.
There's too many people listening to this. Okay. So
you know what? But it's a half an hour. And if it could help somebody get to that next level, if they're stuck somewhere, that's the least that I can do. Listen, I really value people's money, and I really value that they would trust me to teach them to get their business to the next level. And to me, a half an hour of my time is not a big deal at all. And sometimes that get them over a hump that they may be stuck on. In addition to, they can get me through the forum, and they can get me through my Facebook group, which we renamed yesterday. Some may know it as Actionable Entrepreneurs. It is now the Interior Design Business Forum.
Love it.
And you can get to it by interiordesignbusinessforum.com.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So the course is $997 right now. It's and anybody who signs up for this course can get a free half hour. They sign up using my link.
Correct.
My course. Right. Okay. So luannigara.com/resource, and then you will see the course there. And honest to God, this is evergreen. This podcast is going to be 3 years from now. Do we want to put a time frame on it, Nance? I mean,
yes, let's pull it from now until June 30th of 2019.
Okay, I like that better. I like parameters. I like agreements, Nance. You know how I am. I like agreements.
I also want to state that this is a rollout. This is the new rollout of this course. We are recording this in December of 2018, and that it will go through a price increase. So if they're listening to it, buy it, because if they think they need it, now's the time to buy. We are going to be going through a price. I did a rollout price, and then the price is going to be going up. So.
Okay. And so we're just going to say, if you're listening in real time at the end of December 2018, that this price is not for long. We don't know how long, because we don't know when we're going to air and all that. So we don't know. But the point is that it's not until June 2019. It could be much sooner than that. But until June, if you sign up for this course between now and June 30th, 2019, using the link from my website, luannigara.com/resource, in addition to all of the modules and the forum and the Facebook group, all of that, they can have one free half-hour one-on-one coaching session with you. That's pretty remarkable. Okay. Correct. Half hour one-on-one with Nancy. All righty. I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm so looking forward to this spring, where we're going to have our big book launch event together. Part of my book with me. It's so exciting. It's really going to be a fantastic book launch and a fantastic event. And of course, I revealed all the details for this book launch on Power Talk Friday, December 21st. So if you missed that episode, go back and check that episode out, because this is a pretty spectacular book launch that Nancy and our co-authors, we have all put together for you guys. So Nancy, thank you so much. I know that this course is I just know you, and I know the level of commitment that you bring to the passion that you have for coaching interior designers and helping them be more profitable in their businesses. And I'm just so grateful for being in your sphere, in your world, and working with you and collaborating with you all the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Luann. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannnigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.